Hi, I'm Carcina.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. What's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome back to episode 2 review of Raising Kanan. That's right. What a very good episode. And just like I love to say I was right in this final season of Raising Kanan, Sino was right. I love to say that. Y'all know that. Stop playing. Y'all already know I was going to say I was right when I said Unique just might go away. Right? But let's get into it, because it needs to be said. Now, Unique, one of the most interesting characters on the show, has left the show. People think he'll come back at the end. No, Unique is done. His arc was done. There was no room for Unique anymore. So you either was going to kill the character, just like Phil Russo. Told you Phil Russo would be the next to go. I didn't know they were going to kill Ak, but I know this situation is going to come to a head where Kanan's going to have to kill Taz. And he going to be closer to Breeze when he do, because Breeze is only keeping Taz around because he needs him right now to run his errands. Now, this goes a lot of different ways, and before they go into Power Origins with the Ghost and Tommy thing, you know, Unique was one of the most loved characters that we've seen on the show, and to see him ride off, and I was saying he might end up going to Miami and starting up. You just don't kill off a character like Unique after he didn't already survive so much from his own brother. Killing him off just would not be suffice. You made him survive all that just to come back and kill him off. And when you look at the total things, like all hustlers don't die. That's what I be trying to tell y'all. Just because you a hustler don't mean you die. I already told you, man. You know, too many hustlers that survived and did a whole lot of things, picked up trades, moved on. Now, once she started talking about that, you could have been a lawyer, you could have been a senator, you could do anything. You unique. There's no other like you. You could do more than just this. But all he saw is from where he's at. He's comfortable there. And there's a lot of hustlers that's like that. They good on their 4-block radius. They don't want to go on that block for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to go over there. Like, I've been in the city all my life. I ain't never been in that section of the city. And I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? They good where they at. They love being in their hood, because in their hood, they a god. But when they get out in the rest of the world, they just another person. They small. It's like starting all over again. And you trying to build your rep back up. You don't want that. So he was like, look, I'm just gonna die here, because my name rang bells here in these streets. But the streets ain't forever. And the way his son is looking at him, and he's just like, feeling in fear and all that. He made a move based on his son. And one hug was enough. And once he saw how things was turning, he knew it was time to make a move. Once Akbar got dropped and the Kanan move didn't work, that was his last gas. It was time to ride into the sunset. There was no more moves. No more moves to be made. Unique was at the end of his rope. And when you at the end of your rope, this is it. We had no more cards. So this was already pulling at his heart. Now his problems with Lou and Marvin, he know this is Marvin gonna come hard. And he know from the word on the street is Marvin is hitting them streets looking for him hard. So he know Marvin coming. But he got the read on Kanan right away. But he had to be in front of him just to see. My favorite part of the episode, of course, is any scene that revolves around Unique and Breeze. And when this meeting take place and they leave Unique out of it, and Stefano knows, and Unique knows, like, look, I was with the dude that stabbed him. Y'all had this meeting behind my back. And Breeze had to call him out on shit and said, look, man, this stuff is weak, dog. Let's cut through all this. You have no cards. Like, dude, yeah, you got soldiers, but they gonna ride for you. They gonna ride for who feeding them, D. You know the game. But no, don't worry, I got you. You ain't getting cut out of nothing. I got you. He knew then. He ain't gonna live. Unique gonna be a problem. And this problem was created by Taz because nobody knew about the meeting. Now that it got back to Unique, he knows Unique gonna be on alert and on point. But he ain't taking Taz with him. He gonna take Kanan with him because he want Kanan to be his second. But he ain't gonna replace Taz until Kanan's ready. That's the only reason he didn't kill Taz. See, this is a hustler's game, but it's also a business. But if Taz mess up again, he ain't gonna have no choice but to get rid of Taz. Now, since Unique just got up, took off, left everything behind, Guy's just gonna be taken from it. So some people don't know if Unique is alive or dead. But when he saw Kanan, he was able to get the read like, hey, the word on the street is I killed your uncle. And you ain't even thinking about dropping me. And he was like, somebody killed somebody in my family. They ain't gonna, by the time the sun hit the sky, they gonna be gone. So that's telling me you ain't even got no beef towards me because you know I didn't do it. So who did it? Your moms? Your uncles? Maybe it was you. Because see, he already knows it ain't Marvin. Because Marvin is on them streets heavy, worn on the warpath for Unique. So he know it ain't Marvin. So he knows it's either you or your mom's. And she don't think the mom would kill Luke. And the only person that would be Kanan. And now he working with Breeze. So he came to fill him out just to see what he would say. And he was like, nah, bro, these streets is done. Like, we done here. Like, I'm about to think about my moves, but he know that was his last gas. And he told him, like, man, maybe you running towards something. Like, get out this game. And then once he get the message he's dropped, it's time to leave. It's time to get up. Nothing really in this episode. This was more of a build-up episode as Kanan kind of get word that he might be wrong about the cops that took his girl and took fame and all that, because they didn't know what he was talking about as he gets scared straight. Now, the whole thing was this to scare him straight and get back to going to school and all of this, but basically trying to shut down his operation. You know, his mom's like, you need to go back to school. So anyway, all of this is a setup. Her moving to Manhattan and Stefano not wanting to do business when she got all this work. Stefano didn't want, he's like, look, I got staff. And it was because of Marvin. So Marvin already knows he created the mess that led to all of this blowout. So he feels like he got to fix it. But you always see Marvin with the sucker in his mouth. And the reason you see Marvin with that sucker is because it's like always when he's taking some care of some business, he got a sucker in his mouth. Now, for me, you know, I don't think they've covered this, but I believe his character had a smoking problem, like before, and this is like part of his therapy. Like he had smoking, he was, you know, getting high on his own supply, messing up money, and he went to jail. And Rock had to take care of the business. So part of his recovery steps, and you know, he would use a sucker or some type of lollipop in place of, you know, a cigarette, in place of, you know, drugs. But it seems like when he wants to serve justice, it seems like it relaxes him, gets him focused and right where he needs to be. Some people have picked up on it. A lot of people thought he had a toothpick in his mouth. But Marvin comes in, extracts justice, gets the location to where Unique is, and then makes his move. But I always felt like this episode is just a setup for what's getting ready to come. There's only 8 episodes, so they're not going to build a lot. They're just ending storylines. So anybody expecting to see Unique come back at the end and save somebody, don't expect to see Unique anymore. He's gone into the sunset. You know, you got to get ready to get set up for what is. Now, Ra has left Queens. She's in Manhattan. So now that she's in Manhattan, everything's going to start to move a little different because it's a lot of hustlers in there. So she's finding her way through by going through this floss and using the girls. And now they bought Lou's Club outright, you know, because they finna start serving out of the club. So now, while doing so, Rod's got to hire some people to work for him. And I think this is where we're going to probably see Kanan's, Sean's baby mom. Because I think she's going to end up being the girl that Kanan ended up hooking up with. Because I believe she's older than Kanan. You know, he ends up with an older girl. Forgot her name, like Janice or something. So I think they might introduce her in this season because I think she's going to be in Origins. So a lot of this stuff is on the last parts of these episodes is starting to build up the new show, Power Origins, where all these characters you're gonna start to meet Tommy, Ghost, and you're gonna the Power Origins gonna focus a lot on Ghost's life and Tommy's life more than Kanan's. So the Kanan era or his life and his family and all that dynamic is finna wrap up. And now we're gonna be going into Ghost and Tommy's life. So that's what the Origins is. Because you basically seeing some of Bree's life, but we really don't know too much about Breeze except for Breeze likes to take shortcuts and he's reckless. And you can tell he's kind of reckless. Now, we don't know how reckless yet because we haven't seen it all play out. It's really been just 2 episodes of just Breeze. But we haven't really had a full Breeze moment. But I'm gonna miss that Unique and Breeze conversations, man. That's gold. Man, you blowing all that, that's just vapor, man. You ain't got no pull like that. Like, dude, you talking like, dude, yeah, you might got a few stray soldiers here and there, but they ain't got nothing to fight for. They fight for me, man. They fight for who gonna feed them, and that's the game. Because believe me, all of this from the first time they met is going through his head. And this is what Breeze is like, dude, he's redundant because he has nothing to offer them. Like his pipeline is over. His dude is dry. Once this Italian that he had and the hit didn't go their way, they didn't get Stefano out the way. It was death sentences for all of them. So daytime in New York was up. And Unique, the only way he was gonna survive was to have Snap and Pop's protection. And they was like, "Oh yeah, you part of the game," but he know, they gonna use me because they need me right now, because I got the guys on the streets. But once they feel they all right, we feeding them. They know my guys know who they are and everything, and they eating, and they gonna be all right. We gonna flip on Unique. There is no counter offer for that. Because they'll be the only ones keeping him off. And once he's saying they met with Stefano and they did a deal with him, he just want to make his money and be on the side. He ain't gonna be okay. He ain't worried about you. He just worried about his bread. They knew that was some bull. Come on. So they just ended storylines. And once she knew the girl's family met with Jukebox, Jukes had no remorse about the girl. Once that girl said she talked to the police. Oh, you talked to the police? Yeah, I spoke to him, but I didn't tell him nothing because I don't know nothing. What's going on, Juke? Right then and there, Juke know, oh, she got to go. That girl got to go. It was true. She got to go. So, rightfully put, some decisions have to be made. There has to be these perfect situations that occur that where they both align like 2 trains on the same track. But she's getting ready to go into her detective side of things. So she's trying to like fish, like see if, Rock has something to do with that. Saying, she was messing with Unique, it could have been a situation. Because even though that was a long time and dead and gone, they just found out when Unique brought that up in the group in front of all those people. So then it starts to hit the streets that, oh man, he used to get down with Rock. So now that's in the streets. So even though that's been dead and gone and everything else, now the streets is talking about it. So they acting like it's new. And now Lou is done. Now they like, oh, this look bad on Rock. So to see how this plays out in the end is going to be quite interesting. Well, Kanan and I believe him and Breeze are going to find a way to intervene with what's going on in Manhattan with Rock, even though it's none of their business about what's going on over there. But Stefano is not going to like her being in Manhattan doing any business, even though she's out of Queens, which is really much out of his jurisdiction of involvement. So Kanan and Breeze is going to do what they got to do to make sure it happens. So overall, I feel that it was a strong episode. I'm intrigued to leave you intrigued for the third part, which looks like the third episodes is normally a lot of the fallout. Third episodes are normally fallout episodes, and then you start seeing everybody get in their positions after the fallout of the third episode. So we'll see. It's getting there. But it's definitely doing its thing, keeping people intrigued for last season. This is pretty good. So don't forget to go to my Patreon. We have the Michael Jackson story with Joe Jackson, and what's new, the Hulk Hogan story. You want your first looks at it, you can go over there and check it out right now. And then definitely this was just, people haven't really gravitated to this yet. Maybe because it's Justin Bieber, but yeah, the Justin Bieber story and what happened. So if you want to know all that, it's on the Patreon right now. Go check it out. The Carcino for Life Patreon. Thank everybody who hit up the Cash App. Don't forget to like the video and hype it. And we're out, man. Peace.